Hello, everyone. We've had technical difficulties yet again with Teams, so sorry that we're starting late. I'm going to call the meeting to order. It's 7:39. Attendance is John Flick, Dimitri, I'm just going to go first names, Rob, Randy, Andrea that are here. I see Dennis Maluzzo. I thought I saw Mary Daly here.
Can I hear?
I don't see Mary. Mary, if you're there, unmute yourself and speak out. All right, so no, I don't see, I thought I saw Mary earlier, but if she comes back in, we'll let her in. Dennis, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so the meeting's adjourned. First thing on the agenda, I'm sorry, meeting's called to order. First on the agenda is approve the minutes of the January 2025. Are there any comments or questions? I'm sorry, who's WJR? All right. Okay, Mary, I'm sorry, Andrea, go ahead.
Okay, so do we approve them first and then have a discussion?
No, we have discussion and approve.
So for my area, under budget, number 3, budget update and expenses, I have some modifications. So fiscal year 2025 to 2026. And then just format all the numbers the same way. And for consultant, we have to add 7,500. And then I would like under the number 4, where it says made a motion to vote on the budget, to move that up to the vote. So it's clear that it was, I know that we did it out of order, but I want it to be clear that the budget was voted on and approved. And then I have one other comment. I would like this to actually go to a vote after the minutes. I would like a watermark that says draft minutes that get posted online. And then when they are approved, then they go online and the drafts come down and the approved minutes go up. But
We'll do that. We'll change, yeah.
After this, we'll do a second motion.
New business or something.
Okay, those are all the things I saw.
Hey, is there anyone else? Comment.
I just wanted to I was absent until about 7:45, so I did not hear the budget.
Okay, and it says
Yeah.
that in the minutes.
But he didn't vote on Sunday. He came in at 7:45,
Okay.
so he was absent. Wasn't there.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks, Dennis.
Yep.
Are there any other comments?
This is Mary, and I've been trying to get in since 7:30, but I'm on now.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Yeah, technical difficulties on this end, sorry. So.
Mary, we were talking about the minutes. Did you hear that conversation?
No, I just was able to get on just now.
Okay.
Okay, so do you want me to repeat it?
Are there any
Well, we're gonna
comments?
vote on it.
Well, we'll have to do a formal motion and everything else. Are there any other comments or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as noted?
With the corrections?
As noted, yeah,
Yeah,
with the
okay.
corrections.
I second that.
Well, you can't second it.
You made the motion.
No, I'm saying,
I'm confused.
can we have a
We
motion?
will make a motion to approve the minutes as presented, including the modifications we just discussed.
All in favor? Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Okay, I have a second.
What is your second motion? Oh, hold on. I have to have a motion to add an agenda item.
Oh, it's fine.
Doesn't matter.
Okay,
Can we have a motion to, add an agenda item?
I'm making a motion to add an agenda item.
Can we second it?
I'll second it.
All right, so we're gonna add an agenda item. What item is it?
I'd like to have an agenda item concerning adding a draft watermark to the minutes that are posted so that we can differentiate between draft and approved minutes online.
So can we have a motion stating that? Or can we turn that into a motion?
That was my
Okay.
The
motion.
one thing for this, that the minutes, we can maybe clarify this at the Friday meeting in a couple weeks. The minutes don't get reposted. The changes are made on these minutes.
Right, and
So if we put a draft, it wouldn't come off.
that's a problem. So we're gonna discuss this. So that's the motion. Is there a second on Andrews? Once they're posted, they can't.
Well, they have to come down because that.
They don't, the clarifications get put on the new minutes meeting. And it says, like I just typed up, these are the changes from last month's meetings. That's the rules from for you,
Can,
or whatever that is.
can we please have a second? Thank you. That was on Andrew's motion. All right, so now we can have the discussion. Eric has indicated that based on FOIA, once they go up, they can't come down, and the corrections to the minutes are at the next meeting, which is horrible, in my opinion, because no one's looking at the next minutes of the next meeting to see if there are corrections. So
That makes my argument even stronger. So then we're gonna have draft and we're gonna have approved minutes. We'll
right,
have
so
two
I
sets of
believe
minutes.
FOIA says that the minutes have to be available 24 hours after
No, it's 7 days.
7 days. All right, does it say they have to be available online?
I'm not positive, but there's a meeting on the 26th. Are any of you going? Because I didn't see anyone from this. I'm on
What is
multiple
this?
times and I didn't see-
What is this one, though? The one on Saturday morning?
No, it's Wednesday.
Oh,
We
Wednesday
did it
evening.
last year and no one from this
Yeah.
committee was there, but there were
Oh.
from the others, and there's a lot of things that they
Is
talk
it
about.
remote? Do we have a hybrid?
I don't believe so. But like, if you
I
look
would
at
go
other
to
minutes,
the-
we have way more in these than Katie about that. I'm sure.
So I would suggest that if they don't have to be made available online, to write them up and have a copy here at Town Hall. And after the next meeting, we post it.
I'm gonna be pretty vocal about this because I've been on lots of committees and boards, and we're basically misinforming. the public
Yeah, I
by
mean-
keeping draft minutes that aren't approved. People will go up there, they'll print them. I did it today. I went in and I looked at old minutes, and am I looking at drafts? They shouldn't have draft minutes
Right.
up there.
I don't understand that rule. It says it has to be, I think it says it has to be made available to the public, which means paper copy here.
Yeah, I mean, we're misinforming the public by not putting draft on draft minutes.
But there's still no reason we can't. Otherwise, we won't have a chance to.
Oh, no, we would have, no, we'd be able to, we would email it to the members. We would email it to the members. And then we would do this, but we would be 1 month behind in posting, but at least they'd be accurate. I mean, we're making corrections. I mean, they're minute, but we've made one pretty major correction, I think, this year or last year, that changed the whole meaning of something.
Come back and that's the way. We want to get it fixed.
So I think we should table this motion until you have more information, Andrea, because well, we can't.
Well, what
can't
information do we? It's our
on
committee.
FOIA.
No, somebody tends that.
Right. I mean, if we have to post it after 7 days, then we have to think of something else. We shouldn't mark it as a
I
draft.
see where the commissions do too. Overcoming some.
The other commissions that I do, they do exactly what I just said. They change the minutes on the next meetings, and like what I just said, that's how they do
Yeah,
it. So
no, I
if that's not the
understand.
way, then we have to make sure that we're doing what Hoya wants us to do. Because that entire meeting is all about the minutes. And what they say multiple times over and over, at least what they said last year is, and I did it once this time and then Rich didn't like it. What they told us to do is write as little as possible on minutes.
Yeah,
They didn't want a ton of documentation because that's when things get wrong. It was like, we have to capture the motions and the votes, and that's all that they wanted.
yeah.
That was the direction. So I started to do it that way. Rich didn't like it, but that was the direction I was getting. So we
Yeah, I
need to
understand that.
solve for that.
That either.
I do. Less is better.
Less is better, but except,
They said the only thing that's required are the motions.
Are the motions?
The attendance.
Sometimes the discussion. Something gets-
Important, but not required, and that's when
Not
the
required.
mess up. So I think it would just be great, because like when I went last time, there were people from the other commissions also there, so we were all kind of like in agreement, but nobody was there from WPCA. And I told Katie last week, I'm flying back from business trip that day. I land in Providence at 5, meetings at 7. I'm gonna try to get here, but my travel has been crazy, so we'll see if I make it or not. There was not a virtual option last time.
I think I'm.
No, there has to be a virtual option. Katie's the, who chairs?
Yeah,
this
Katie
meeting?
sent, I can tell you, she sent us the email about it last week. I thought she sent it to all the commissions. Let's see.
Since it almost like got reappointed.
She said
Right, she sent it to chairs too. She sent it-
authority board and commission clerks. Scheduled for Wednesday, February 26th at 7 PM, the town hall meeting room. This time of year, so all newly appointed members can attend and come up to speed on the expectations of doing municipal work. If you did not attend last year's training, please make every effort, blah, blah, blah. And there is like an actual guide that they gave us last year, which I still have at home, but it's multiple pages. I would, if I go home tonight and find anything relevant, I can send it to you, or we can.
I need it. So.
I'm happy to do whatever needs to be done. I just want to make sure that we're doing right by FOIA and by all of you.
Can we have a motion to table this motion?
Yeah, I guess the motion is, if there's a virtual, I guess we have to table it, but I'm really not comfortable with continuing this practice of posting on minutes that are in draft format. It's a really poor
But you
practice.
cannot do it other way, so. What to do, right way.
Well, the right way is to make sure they're
Yeah,
draft.
right, the right way is to post,
So I
Approved
always send them
minutes.
to Steve before I post them, so I can send them to more of you. I can't send it to everybody
Well,
because
Well, they're still
I
draft.
don't know if you always send them to me.
I don't usually get a response, but I do send them to you.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Because I
go
do
for
look.
it.
But really, Erica, the point is they're not approved. So what is Steve gonna do? Just.
I can make
Get approved
the
and
changes
meeting,
that I noticed.
to be posted after the meeting, right, wrong, or indifferent, that's your FOIA.
Steve had corrections to them. You could make.
Yeah, I can make corrections prior to.
That's the Freedom of Information Act.
But
Yeah, so-
why did you post it? Can't you just say draft?
Yeah.
No,
Well, yeah, I said I could do that, but I'm saying, but when they get finalized, we never go back and change those.
they won't be
minutes.
changed.
They
So
just
they'll
get changed
always
to the
say
consent
draft.
Agenda.
So you
That's
say,
when FOIA wants it done, unless I'm wrong, which we'll all learn about on the 26th.
Well, maybe,
The next meeting for
maybe
corrections.
But that's how.
right,
maybe they were gonna require to set the
Is that
minutes.
how Katie interprets FOIA?
No, there's somebody here from FOIA.
All right,
that does
okay.
that. That's who, it's not Katie who does it, it's somebody from FOIA. And there's like a
I'm
whole
gonna be out of
Q&A
town,
thing.
right? You know,
It was really helpful last year, actually.
or I would go.
could we have someone second that motion
The table.
to table it?
Yeah, I guess we.
All right, so the motion is table. I'll bring it up on next week's agenda, next month's agenda.
Thank you.
We get more.
I'm virtual next month.
I'd like to be virtual. Budget update and expenses is next. That's on, yeah.
I'm sorry that this is probably gonna be the worst report I've ever given. So I have nothing expensed at all on the budget, and but that's not true. So I'm just gonna go through it. So it's in the minutes. Right now, the carryover, we still have $6,856.50 for legal. Our year-to-date budget, the current year expenditure, our period expenditures during this last month reflects a zero balance. We have submitted invoices. I'm not quite sure why this is a zero balance. Our current expenditures for this year are $24,457.13, which is about 30% of our
Can you
budget.
repeat that number, Andrea?
Yes, $24,457.13, which is roughly, it's 28% of our budget. And our total current budget is at $87,872. Now, I think we need to talk about our invoice process. So we have been, there's two other things I want to talk about because I want to talk about clean water funds. Okay, so I don't even know where to start. Apparently, our invoices have many different procedures, and we are trying really hard to streamline it. So I did ask Tracy to give us as far as Erica's pay, to know when the 26 pay periods are and when we have to get your invoices in to get paid during whatever the time period is. So we're still working on that because you had an invoice that didn't make the pay period, but it also didn't make the budget. So I don't know where your invoice is.
Well, I'll get it this Friday. I'll get paid Friday.
Right, but this came out yesterday and it didn't get in the invoices yet. It didn't get in
Because she
the
didn't
budget.
pay it yet. So
Okay.
that's probably why, but
Okay. So that makes sense.
She
We'll have
does it
two
on
of you
cash. She
next.
does it on cash.
So will you have two next year? Okay, so that we can address. That's the easy one. I'm not really sure how to even, please don't write this verbatim. We're having a conversation first. I'm not really sure what the problem is. Apparently, some invoices come through the mail and get put in our inbox, which you check at least a couple times a month.
You should check it twice a month.
Okay,
And Erica now is,
you can bring it home to my husband can bring it home, yeah.
okay, all right. You guys live near each other?
No, my husband works here.
Oh, okay.
so
Oh, okay,
He brings it home to me.
okay.
he brings home a lot of the comedy. He doesn't bring everything.
Mm-mm. The comedy stuff.
Okay, that's good. But our approval process is that both Steve and myself would review the invoices and then approve them. And that doesn't seem to be happening. We have in our inbox today, I called and Michelle faxed me what was in there. And we had several attorney invoices, and then we had an invoice for the day. And we hadn't seen them, and they were approved by Martha.
And paid.
And they're not on her budget, and they're not on our budget. And we had many questions
So they
about
got
what was.
paid, but they didn't show up.
Well, I don't know if they've been.
We
paid.
don't know where
Oh.
they showed up. They're not on the administration
I
budget,
think they're approved by Martha.
but I wouldn't have approved them. I
Right.
found a lot of things in the budget, and neither would you. So we would have had questions about those. I'm working with the Clean Water Fund, and I submitted invoices that Steve received. They were dated January 22nd. He received them on the 31st. I processed them with the Clean Water Funds in Deep. And they may have already been paid, and we don't know where they are. And we're missing another $20,000 worth of invoices. I can't find other Clean Water Fund invoices. So now I'm actually calling the vendors to try to get copies of the invoices.
I have given you copies of
No,
those.
there's others that came when Rick was chair.
Those are,
I think they.
well, if they're
I
from,
think
if they're
they
from
were-
Woodward and Curran, it's been paid.
No, there's Bussin' O'Neill, there's other contractors.
Fuss O'Neill was paid.
They were paid, but we can get clean water fund back if we submit the
Right.
invoices.
Okay,
And we
so
don't have
that-
the invoices or the documentation that they were paid. So there's money out there that we can recover for the town, but I can't get the invoices.
So that's a different, different problem than actually having our
Maybe-
invoices
Yeah. and maybe it's
looked
that
at and
one.
approved by the selectmen.
These legal invoices.
These are legal, so these are legal, and the reason that it's taken a while is I didn't get these, I mean, one's 10/29, the other's 9/25. I didn't get these until, so, for instance, this one, which is original, I didn't get it at all. It showed up in my mailbox later. The date was 10/2/24. Martha Shoemaker approved it. I never saw it. I mean, it was dated 9/25.
And what is it for? What are the-
It's legal fees. And,
For what?
A lot
well,
of things.
so it's, reviews with, I have here, the whole bill is 3496.50. I've assigned town hall $1,756.50 because Martha is calling up our attorney on the town's behalf. We use the same attorney, so, which is a nice segue into the next thing that you're gonna propose.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's really muddy. There's like the day invoice had multiple, they have one thing for the finance committee and one thing for us. There's too much that's commingled. And then when I asked Tracy to run a report, we don't get anything in our report because all of this is commingled. Yet when I go to approve your salary, I have to say which line item I'm doing. And it's,
Well, you don't because I have 2 timesheets, so I use the right one and she should know.
Right.
Based on.
but
yeah,
you know,
it's
there's
me.
always what line item and yet we can't get reports. So there's a bigger picture problem and there's little picture problems. And we want you to know, to be aware, that mess. It's not really our mess, but it makes our life hell.
Did we lose audio?
I'm sorry?
Did we lose audio?
No,
No? I can hear you.
Went silent on me.
So I think that we should use a different attorney. It's taken 4 months to get the CSA out of his, I got it yesterday, to get it out of his purview. He's causing disruptions now with getting things out timely. Martha said, well, you know, he has other clients. All right, so does every other attorney. You know, I've never,
So does every business.
so does every business. So when I've asked for,
Which attorney is it specifically?
Sussman and Shapiro,
Karen,
Mike Carey.
Mike Carey.
yeah.
So I think that we should investigate getting another attorney for the WPCA. That way, funds or questions dealing with the WPCA are WPCA. Questions dealing with town hall are town hall. I mean, we're rewriting the CSA for town hall. I've agreed to the terms. The reason that it's being held up now is because town hall wants changes placed in it. We're getting billed for that right now, and we shouldn't be.
So on that level, I'll support whichever attorney you feel is better, but I want to bring up a bigger thing. I'm looking at $9,000, $8,000, $7,000 worth of attorney bills that are not approved through our normal
Right.
process. Normally, we bring that to the committee. We say, hey, Steve needs the ability to make $3,000 worth of calls to the attorney for this reason. Normally, we talk about that here. Normally, we put it in the minutes. Normally, we vote on it. We don't vote on of December 2024. Okay, amount, $111. Underneath, prior balance due, $8,409.06. So then we dig through. We go through each line item. It's not even clear, emails and to and from various. How do I know what that's about?
I checked my email to see if I.
I mean, you
received
have to go through and check emails, but those would be your emails. So this, I could not support this kind of documentation. Like if I gave this to an auditor, I don't think it would work. But, I mean,
Mary has her hand raised for a while.
say what?
Mary has her hand
Okay, so in this discussion, I do think we need to stay valid to our procedures, how we run the WPCA. We're good stewards of the money that we get. And this gives me a lot of anxiety to see $9,000, $7,000 attorney bills that we have not discussed or approved.
So I think that, maybe, and I'll do this if you want, or you can, we should have a written procedure written down that we vote on next thing on how we're gonna handle invoicing. And just state that nothing should be paid unless the procedures are followed.
Andrea and I met this morning and talked about that.
So I thought we already have a procedure, actually.
We did, but no, it's.
I don't know if it's written or not.
It is.
We had two
Is it written?
procedures.
All right, then it's not being followed, so.
Well, and so the second part of it though is we have a procedure, WPCA, and so I'm gonna speak also from the fire department standpoint, we have a procedure, same exact thing, where our chief has to sign off on every invoice.
Right.
But they pay invoices that we never see. And it's like, sometimes it's like, can we just get them all? Just give us every single one.
Right.
Not the ones that you think we need. And so that's the dilemma there, is that we can have, WPCA can have a procedure, but they still just kind of do it.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about, if it comes in the inbox, why can't they be scanned to the right people? So if we have bills that come in,
I don't understand why, it's even worse than that. I don't understand why someone is paying our bills or determining whether to pay our bill or not. What if, so for instance, we had a,
yeah, we did have
we had-
another attorney bill.
we had a bill for $20,000 from the bonding guy. She could have gotten that, someone could have gotten that and paid it immediately when they said, you don't have to do it until you go out for bond, right? So, I mean, we didn't have the money. We didn't have the $20,000 when we got billed, and he understood that. There's another bill out there that was for work done for Woodward and Kerman that was done during COVID, that he wanted to get paid and kept billing the WPCA until we said, we're not paying you. You were not authorized to perform this work at this time. So you can't, there's no control. I mean,
And I'm just gonna bring it up. I mean, I've sat through a couple board of finance meetings. We get audited. There should be audit notes that this stuff happens. I mean, if we're audited, the board of finance should be signing off on it. I mean, there's a lack of control. I mean, point blank. I mean, I've been through it. There's a lack of control. If someone's signing off on invoices without your approval,
right.
it's gotta be happening in other departments. There is a problem. So somebody should, I mean, Do we ask the Board of Finance an audit report, or do we get the auditors? I mean, I mean, do you ask our finance director what's going on? I mean,
I do speak with Anita. She says she doesn't get our bills. I asked her where.
Well, she didn't get her bill, but somebody's paying for them,
So then you go to Tracy and you ask her to run a report. And we did ask her to run a report on all our attorney fees because we noticed this before. So, but we're not getting those
So
reports.
let me recognize Mary. She's had her hand up for a while. Go ahead, Mary.
Oh, no, I'm all set. I was just, sometimes I can hear this and sometimes I can't. It seems to go in and out, but no, I'm just listening. Thank you.
I'll try to speak out louder. That might be my fault.
No,
You
I
should
think
do-
it's the line. I think it's the line itself goes in and out, but whatever. Thank you.
She hasn't been,
They can.
well, I know they can. She hasn't been giving us information we're requesting. Right, so then maybe the first step, John, to answer your question, I don't know if I go to auditor right now, but maybe the first step would be to pull out our procedures and discuss it with Martha, because that's the person that's signing off on our invoices, and saying, these are the procedures we have, we'd like you to respect them.
Could I just suggest that Sussman Shapiro, if they're gonna continue to represent both the WPCA and the town, they submit a separate invoice.
Right,
What's the big deal?
Well,
because they don't,
and they should submit it to Steve,
Right,
not.
right,
Martha.
you're right, it's attention Martha Shoemaker,
that's where I'm coming from.
so I'm not even seeing
It
these
shouldn't
until.
be coming to-
Unless she wants to pay for them. If she wants to pay for them out of her budget, that's fine.
I've dealt with lawyers fees, and I just, you gotta separate everything from me. You can't put all this crap together. Even,
No, because they fudge
yeah, I know, yeah.
hours more than any.
No,
yes, they-
I don't believe it. I can't believe that. They're officers of the court.
But
Ones I do.
But what would Carrie do if Martha calls and asks a question about WPCA? Now, we're gonna have to school him to say, look, WPCA calls come from this gentleman right here. You know, I mean, I think. we
I
have to
think,
give
I think
clear
the easiest
direction.
thing to do is to get another attorney. from the
That's- yeah.
WPCA. And then we don't have any problems, because I write to, our new attorney writes to Mike Carey and says, you no longer represent the WPCA. And so anything that comes from Old Line is not our problem.
Is there a process that, when do we have to?
No, but there's
We may
still,
have to
but
do
there's
this,
still be another problem is that the bills could come in here and they can get
and
approved.
still getting paid.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. I think from now on all our invoicing, or all our purchase orders that go out to vendors, say that they have to email and send paper copy, so that we receive the invoices. I mean, I do that in my business now.
I do
Well,
think
Andrea-
they should email.
Well, Andrea, you and I can go.
Yeah, why don't you?
Andrea, I'm trying to help Andrea on this stuff.
Yeah,
We're-
we're
doing a team to-
colleagues right here. We're teaming it.
So, would you guys like to come up with?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm gonna pull up the old one and we'll tweak it.
all right, so,
And then at some point, we need to talk to Martha and say, and Anita, is it Anita?
I guess we could just present to them, this is our process, please honor
yeah.
And we're having problems.
Another
it. Well,
thing,
I did
Another
include
thing.
Martha on an email.
who's gonna find you a lawyer?
I got tons of attorneys that I know,
One
but
time,
I think we have to put, I think it's an advertisement and then.
one
RFIs.
time, when I was the chairman, and Tim Griswold was the first selectman, I asked him, he said, if you have a lawyer, find it. So this
Oh,
I did.
all right. I have plenty of lawyers I work with.
So you can ask for a select woman, if you can find a lawyer. You'll be a lawyer, WPC.
Okay. All right, so, is that,
So then I'm
oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so there's two things to talk about on the clean water funds. One is the design phase. And I have been I submitted a draft of the two bills that I had from Woodard and Curran. However, they may have been paid. So there's a couple things we need to remember about them. We should get our invoices in by the end of the month. So we have a little bit of time right now. We didn't get their invoice until the beginning of February. So the quickest that we can process this and get them paid now is March 13th, if all the stars line up.
They know the date.
Okay. I mean, so if you drop us a bill on January 31st, you're waiting 60 days probably. Okay, so, and then the second thing is, and there's some missing money. So we're trying to figure out missing invoices, and we're trying to close that gap so that we can use up clean water funds. Now, I will make you all aware, when that gets to the final stage, Martha does have to sign that letter in order, because she's the signature and the fiduciary of the clean water funds. So there are many ways we still obviously need to work closely with Martha. The Clean Water Fund construction phase, we met, John and I met today and we reviewed that, and then I spoke to Lee about that. And I'm pretty sure what happened with the Clean Water Funds for the design phase is I wrote out the initial grant, but Laura over at Woodard and Curran will actually craft the entire document and send it in. So I now have her phone number and we'll do that, but that happens within 30 to 60 days after the bid. So that should happen sometime in March and April. Do I have that right?
I'm sorry.
I know you're somewhere.
I was looking at their bills. So
Did you hear me about the Clean Water Fund?
the Clean Water Fund, and you said something about March and April?
I think that's when it gets submitted, and I'm pretty sure Woodard and Curran have a woman named Laura.
Yes,
Who will
yeah.
submit that.
It'll be March because we're bidding late February, so it should be shortly after that. So I have a bill here for $9,817.50 for Woodward and Curran,
Yeah,
and another
I
one.
submitted that.
Okay,
And the
And-
other one was 19.
and she says that what's her name? And she said that I'm sorry, my apologies. It appears as though these have been paid.
I never submitted them then. So even if they've been paid, we have to submit them to the Clean Water
Right.
Fund, so we get reimbursed.
So you'll handle that, but I don't understand who paid them. Who paid them?
Town.
That I'm trying to find out. Well, that's what happened before.
You know, there's $18,000 of bills, I think.
I never paid them.
Okay, so we're looking into that, obviously. It says my apology. I mean, I sent you the emails, you
Yeah.
have it, so.
That email's from who?
It's from, it looks like the account manager at Woodward and Curran saying, my apologies, these bills have been paid. I know that.
But that just makes our life miserable, because now we have to present a canceled check and we have to.
No, we don't. If
Well,
they
we
say
do
it's
for Lee.
Oh, for Lee. So in any event, I don't think they've been paid. I think they're mixed up. I know that they billed us, I think, $562,000, which we did pay. And the whole contract, I think, was $619,000 or something.
610, yeah.
610. So we owe them balance because they're done. The bidding, we're done. So, but we'll find out. Andrew's on top of it. She's well aware of it.
So their whole contract is $615,200.
Yeah.
And at the second invoice, so I have two invoices. So the one in January, if both of these get processed, their contract will be down to $583,500, but there's $20,000 missing in here Because we went from 544 to 563.
Well,
So where's this
no,
money?
So it's completed to date.
Right,
All right, previous fee was this plus the current fee
Yeah,
was
it's just this
563. No, this
yeah,
544,230 plus 19,635. Add those together, comes up to 563,865. Previous fee, current fee, completed to date.
so this one's,
It's a different one.
right, but do you see
That's
how
the
it
last
says,
one.
here's the balance, here's the balance? I don't know, when we looked at this and we looked at what I've submitted, it looks like we're missing 20.
I don't think so. But there is another 19,635.
That's what we're missing.
There's two invoices like that. You may look at it too closely and think that they're the same one.
Okay,
There's,
it's the one I'm missing. These
Okay.
are the two I
it was, okay,
Okay. All right,
I'll
so
forward
there
it
is
to you.
no-
There is another one.
All right, so that's the one I'm missing. Let's see, it says, okay. So that would make, that's the 20,000 I'm
Okay.
looking for. Okay. All right, so that's the Clean Water Fund for design, the Clean Water Fund for construction, the budget, the procedure. Are you done with me? I think I'm done.
All right. Are there any questions for Andrea?
And I'm sorry, it's not a smooth, short, easy. This was challenging. The mess. I like to come in and just give my little,
Well, sometimes you can't. Okay, well, thank you very much.
yeah.
We're going on to the chairman's report. We have a new member. I'd like to welcome Mary Daly as a full member of the board. She was appointed by the Board of Selectmen the other night. I'd like to just go over Robert's rules a little because lately I think the meetings have gotten a little more like a free-for-all when I'm giving my chairman's report, especially with people interrupting and asking questions. And I don't really mind that. But I think that what I'd like is for everyone to keep their questions to the end of my report and then ask them all at once. It might flow a little easier for me and for everyone else. CS update. I received the revised CSA from Mike Carey yesterday. I haven't even had a chance to review it. We've waited 4 months for this, and the changes were per request of the town hall. I was fine with the CSA as it was written. So now I have to review it and send it out to the other members of the CSA for their review because they're also signing it. And then we'll see where we go from there. Sewer project status, the bid date was changed to February 25th, 2025. As a result of Kurt Mailman from Fuss and O'Neill calling me and requesting that we change our bid dates, or actually separate all the bids from February 14th, spread them out, because there are contractors that did not have all the resources to perform all of the projects at the same time. And so they would have to pick and choose which job they would want to bid on. By separating them out several days each, if they're not low bidder on the first one that they bid, they have a chance to get low bidder on the second one. I requested that we get the last one because if someone goes through the process and bids 4 jobs and doesn't get them, they're more apt to be a little more aggressive in their bidding stance to get the last job available. So our bid, and it's not unusual to have the bid date changed normally they are changed in this type of construction after an addendum, and that's what we have. We issued an addendum. The bid date was changed to February 25th, 2025, and also clarified was that the bid opening would be here in Town Hall. Here are some of the goals that I would like to accomplish in the 2025 fiscal, well, 2025 year. Bid and award the sewer project, that should probably be awarded by March 30th of this year. We may have to talk with the town to see if there would be any streets that they could work on. It's delineated in the contract that they can't work on some of our streets between Memorial Day and Labor Day. But there are some streets that they would be able to work on, mainly on 156. I'd like to finalize the EDU calculations and put that in writing so that every resident knows how the calculations are being done. I'd like to review and deliver Hawks Nest test results to the DEP. We've had them for a year and a half, maybe even 2 years. And we've kind of languished where the DEP has not come down on us, but part of our responsibility to them was that we were going to do further testing and then give them the results for their review.
Do you have a motion to do that?
Not tonight, because we have some. I'd like to get to the actual EDU part tonight and maybe finish that up. I'd like to review, approve, and forward the sewer ordinance for the town approval. That was kind of put on a back burner, but it's 95% complete. We've had public comment on it. Andrea was doing that, I believe.
Yeah, is that only gonna be for Soundview now, or is that gonna be for the whole town?
It's for Oline WPCA.
Oh.
Okay, any jurisdiction within Oline WPCA. It could always be amended, but let's get something out there.
Doesn't have to go to referendum.
Has to go to town hall meeting, I believe, right, for an ordinance to be passed. And so we can approve it and just put it with the town whenever they have a town hall meeting. We can, usually that would be what? It's coming up actually, May?
There's, a meeting in May.
Meeting in May.
They are talking about trying to have one sooner to do some more other ordinances, but I'd rather not mix this one in with it.
I would rather not either. I'd rather just mix it in with, I'd rather mix it in with the annual town meeting. So maybe we could get that approved or rewritten, and we'll review it in March, and then we'll vote on it to go forward in April. Can we do that?
Reviewing at the
Let
March
us
meeting,
review.
and then vote on it in April.
Yeah, well, we could review it and vote on it in March,
Let's vote on it.
in April, because there may be some minor comments to it.
It's pretty close. Right?
It's 98%. I mean, we've had public comment. It's just a matter of
Who's got the most
how much
recent?
public comment we're gonna put into it. We have to review and update our WPCA ordinance with the town also. It doesn't even really, we're WPCA, so by statute, we're allowed to put sewers in, but our ordinance, we are going against our town ordinance, so we should reconcile the two.
Because
So-
it says sewer avoidance.
Yes.
Yeah. This is still sewer avoidance, but we have to make a
Yeah,
now.
we have to,
this,
yeah. And then I'd like to work with the CSA to define administration of the sewer system. So after it's all built, I'd like to get to a point where we know how we're going to administer that system. There's many ways, like I've said before, could be, well, it has to be one body. We all, CSA members all agree it has to be one body that governs the whole thing. What that body is called or what it looks like is the part that has to be negotiated. that is it for my chairman's report. Are there any questions or comments?
Yes. Steve, so you've got 7 goals. The award we're saying is March 30. Which is gonna take some time. We probably should just put a timeline on these goals, roughly, so that we
We
can
also
sort
have
of
the clean
plan.
water funds that have to get submitted.
So that's another thing I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, the award, I think we can award without, I don't know. I think you can award without signing a contract. You, you,
I don't know that.
I don't know the exact procedure. That's why I asked Andrea and Paul and John to work on it because, but whatever. I mean, yeah.
I mean, if you want to think about that, I'm just suggesting.
Yeah, I can
would help
put,
us to plan.
yes, I
before we
can,
get that.
I will do that. But one is off meeting. The CSA is actually off meeting. We don't really do much.
Right.
That's, but yes, I can certainly put some dates onto that. So I did something a little different. I put public comment 5th because I don't think it's some of our business is going to take a long time, and I would rather have people if they want to make public comment and leave, that's fine. If not, they could stay on. But we're going to actually discuss EDU calculations in session and not off session. We may have, I may, it's probably a misunderstanding what I did last time. You can't call the whole committee a working group. So, I'll open up to public comment. I see a couple people online, MM and WJR. If you want to make a public comment, feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand and we'll unmute you. Or Erica, can you unmute them? I don't think I can. Does anyone have any comments, public comment?
Hi, Steve.
Hi, WJR.
This is Bill Reynolds from Gorton Ave Extension.
Yeah.
I know things are out to bid and things are coming along here, but with my street alone, the way I'm looking at the bid proposal, there's basically 2 houses on this street, which roughly is 300 feet long. And the 2 property owners, myself and my neighbor, you know, we have year-round septics and we've never really been wanting sewers and I think we're in that part that might need macerators to pump it up to 156. I just think for my street alone is a waste of your money, the town's money, to do 300 feet of pipe and 300 feet of paving for 2 houses that, you know, have no intentions of tying in unless we're mandated to. It just seems very wasteful to have these 2 houses to be part of this project. It's just a lot of footage for 2 houses. I just wanted to throw that out there. I've been trying to bring that up for many years now. And if everything is, you know, every penny counts. So to have that much paving and pipe that won't be used right away seems kind of wasteful to me. I just think if you guys are looking for ways to save money, there's you know, 300 feet is 300 feet. That's a chunk of, you know, if you look at it like on Hartford Ave, you have a shitload of houses on 300 feet of property. So just throwing that out there to keep in mind when you're trying to save a dollar.
All right, well, thank you. MM, do you want to make a comment here? All right, not seeing any, I'm going to close public comment. I guess I can have an update. We've arranged it with the other beach associations so that we do not need to have any grinder pumps on any of the houses, this whole system. So it'll all be gravity. And while I understand your feelings on that, you know, you're part of the study and you're included in the DEP study, and the DEP certainly expects everyone to be sewered. So while we appreciate your offer to save some money, I don't think we would be able to do that at this time. But thank you. All right, the next on the agenda is old business, and I have EDU calculation discussion as being old business. So I probably want to hand this over to either Mary or Dennis to present some of their revisions and maybe that they took comments from the board in to see. So I don't know which one wants to speak.
Dennis, do you want me to, or would you like to?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm looking for my paper.
Okay. Well, the first thing we sent you earlier was in regard, so each and every house is important to us at this point. So we need a little bit more clarification about the town property. Martha had indicated she didn't think it would be appropriate to assess them. But if you go back to the document I sent you, Steve, it was publicly announced in 2019, where many of these board members were part of the WPCA. Bonnie was in office, that the town would pay their fair share, and specifically would pay for the police department and would pay for the parking lots, et cetera. So that's one point that we have to clarify, and keep in mind that the state statute, there is no exceptions of that nature stipulated by state statute. So it's totally acceptable. If the police department is going to have a lateral, then there should be an assessment for that, in my opinion. The other thing in the pump house as well, is the pump house going to have a lateral?
No,
Okay,
no, the pump house is not going to have. So, and let me just say, I believe in 2019, the town was considering putting bathroom stalls on that property incorporated into the pump station itself. And I think that's where, at that point, we said, of course, the town would pay for the usage of the facilities, but that's not the design anymore. And so that piece of property isn't even owned by the town. It's owned by the people that own the sewer system. So we would be charging ourselves.
true. I'm saying that, again, going back, each time we say we're not going to do something, that therefore defaults for the Soundview Area B to pick up that slack. So the money still has to come from somewhere, and it comes down to the property owners in that area. But if it's not going to have a lateral, that's fine.
Well-
The police department definitely will have a lateral, and
Correct.
that should be assessed
I
without
believe that.
question.
I think that's true.
Okay, so that's one clarification we wanted to make. The other big question we have is, we heard, again, like we sort of touched on this last month, in the contractual connection fees. I'm not talking about going from my property to the curb. I'm talking about the connection fees to the East Lyme and New London systems, which is about $1 million for Soundview and Area B. Are those connection fees included? I see, because I've been looking at it. Are they included in the $6 million target and part of the affordability factor? And if they are, as you said, that NOE did include for the private beach associations, and since we're all going to be one big happy WPCA, we should all be following the same processes. Anyway, if they are, how is that going to work? If you include them up front in the build, and that is 2% to deep, but by contract, you have that $1 million obligation to East Lyme and to New London at 2% and at 2.65%. How do you envision that working? And my third question I have is, as Martha had stated, some people in Soundview Area B have recently paid quite a bit to upgrade their septic systems. And she has, as at the deep presentation, was told that those people could defer their systems. And when you read the clean water funds, all of that, it does say they can defer. But then if they do defer, where does that money come from in the meantime? Let's say that they defer for 5 years. Well, that's interest building up for 5 years that they're not paying into. And don't forget, the connection fees are based on anticipated 50,000 gallons that the rest of us would then be paying toward. So how are you planning to work that out? And I think all of that comes back into the EDU calculations.
So,
Go ahead.
let me address Mary Dennis first and then I.
Yeah.
So as a WPCA, we decided that we would not include the tie-in fees as part of the assessment. That can be changed, but right now we've decided that that would be, it's paid on a yearly basis to O-Line and East Line. And by the way, Mary, we're not anywhere close to $1 million in connection to New London. The beach associations are $1 million, but I don't believe we're anywhere near $1 million on. I mean, I think we're at $75,000 or something like that. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe it's 750, but I don't think so. I think we're around $75,000 to connect to New London. We're a very small percentage of that full amount that you read in the IMA.
Steve, if you read the document, in New London, it's 712,000 plus interest. And then I think it's another 200 something thousand to East Lyme, just for Soundview and
Right.
Area B. And I think that's because, again, we're charged with 31% somehow of the connection fees, which I don't know how that happened, but that's what, when you add the figures up, it comes out to 31%.
Well, because they were different. They were negotiated differently. New London they negotiated differently. I don't have the document in front of me. I'll have to take your word for it. But it's 70, if it's 752,000 plus, if there's no interest, it's 75,000 a year, divided by 270, it comes out to about $30 a person. I mean, it's not.
Okay.
But anyway, we didn't include it in the as part of our $6 million thing. We had council say you can include it and you don't have to include it. We decided not to include it. It'll be part
But
of
the private beach associations did?
They can do whatever they want, Mary. There are three other WPCAs there. There are three other WPCAs. I don't know what you want from me. I can't force them.
I guess
to do
because
anything.
you keep saying that we're going to be one big WPCA.
I
but
don't keep saying that. I keep saying that one entity will run that system.
Okay. Well, I thought there was a push to have one WPCA across the town.
There is a push, but I can't force them to sign agreements.
I'm just saying that if there is, okay.
If there is, then, but even if there is, it's not going to be one person so each beach association is going to have their own note with the deed. We're not going to take over all the notes. We're not going to evenly distribute all the notes so that everyone's paying the same amount. We're going to keep our share. Old Colony's going to keep their share. Miami Beach is going to keep their share. Old Lyme Shore is going to keep their share. And
I understand that.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be the same.
I understand that. My concern would be, so the bids go out and the bids include the contractual connection fees for the private beach association, which is over 2 million.
No, what bids?
Well, part of the bids aren't the bids for the infrastructure, also to connect the pipes through East Lyme and to New London to the system? Isn't that work included in the infrastructure bid?
It's included in the shoreline force main and yes.
Yes.
Okay, but it doesn't include any of those fees. It includes only the money for construction. What they borrow and what the job entails are two different things, Mary. There's nothing in that job that we will not have advantage of.
Okay.
There's nothing in there that can be added to it that we're paying more. We're paying for construction. That's it. We're paying for the construction of the shared. Okay, so maybe I'm missing what you're asking.
Right. So what I'm saying is, if the private, I guess maybe I should write it up and send it out to everyone so everyone understands what I'm trying to say. We have $1 million in debt plus interest to East Lyme and New London for connection fees, not from my yard to the street, but for connection fees of the infrastructure pipes. And you're saying you're not
No.
including, okay. I'm telling you,
Well,
it's in the
I mean, yes,
contract.
okay, you're saying for the infrastructure pipes. No, we are paying a fee to use their pipe. We're paying a fee to use East Lyme's pipe, New London's pipe, and New London's treatment plant. We're not paying a connection fee for the pipe we're putting in the ground. We're paying pipe, it's like a transfer fee. We're using part of their system for our effluent to get to New London.
Think of it as a conveyance.
A conveyance fee. Yeah, it's like a conveyance fee. We're not
Well, that's
paying.
that's a separate fee, the conveyance fee. The usage fee is separate.
The usage fee is separate also, but we're not, these agreements, the IMAs with East Lyme and New London are the fees associated with using their pipe and their power, their treatment facility. It has nothing to do with our pipe.
Okay. I just
Okay.
wanted clarification on that. I'm not sure if that will be a legal matter or not, but I just think if we're sharing the infrastructure and the billing for that is done differently or considered differently in terms of affordability, et cetera, for the private beach associations versus Soundview and Area B, I'm not sure where that's going to end up, but I'm just bringing that point to light for everyone.
Now, we could change it. What if our internal infrastructure is $4 million? I mean, maybe we just borrow another $1 million and pay East Lyme and New London up front and charge everyone that much more. I mean, we could change it. We don't know the numbers yet, but we decided a long time ago not to include it. Go ahead, Dennis, please.
Okay, regarding the EDUs, we're still having issues with vacant lots, especially two. And the decision was that it was going to be a lateral to each lot with one EDU charge. Clean water funds. Clean water funds dictates that no development after sewers is allowed. Yet we're putting a lateral or a point of contact on Hartford Avenue for a big development. It's not one resident adding one house to his property, and it's could be 12 pieces
Dennis,
of property
I
there.
think we went through this. How many pieces of property does he have? How many separate pieces? I know you view it as
He
one.
doesn't have separate. He's got 9,800 and something square feet.
All right, so he gets a lateral.
He gets one lateral. But what I'm saying is we can't. Is that one lateral going to furnish all his development, or is he needed? If he's got 10 units there, is 5 on one and 5 on another, or all 10 are on one?
Zoning say.
Do you see what I'm saying?
No, Dennis, does the zoning say you can put one building on that lot, or does the zoning?
Is it
say
multi-residential?
Multi-resident.
No,
Yes.
it's commercial and residential combined. So whatever's on the bottom floor has got to be commercial, whatever's on the top floor has to be residential.
Then it can't be
If they're
one
condos.
EDU. Then it's.
Right,
not
but it's not one EDU to
Then it's
begin
not.
with. It would be two. Didn't we decide that commercial and residential would be two?
It's gotta have a lateral big enough to support the zoning.
Right.
So now
But it
you're
would be-
talking
what
possibility of
was-
multiple laterals. So
No,
that's
I'm not
one,
talking,
that's
I'm
where
not talking, no, Dennis, I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about that at all.
Okay.
Just so you
Well-
know, I'm not
Well,
talking
when
about that.
when you ask us about the EDUs, that will always come into play, just like the police
Why do you
station.
say, why do you say that, so commercial and resident, at the last meeting, didn't we decide that commercial residential would have two EDUs?
Yes.
I can't remember. Wait a minute. Bear with me. Well, it's not, see, it's not in the minutes. That's the reason why,
Mixed use.
because it was a work session. It wasn't in the minute.
We
Right.
did decide that, Dennis. We
Okay.
talked about
All right.
that.
Okay,
All right.
so that, number one, so they would be he would be charged two EDUs. It's mixed use, commercial, residential.
Mixed use.
Mixed use, all right? So that would be two EDUs. Now, if zoning supports him putting up 5 units, we may have to increase the size of his lateral, but you wouldn't have to put 2 in. You put 1 in and increase the size of the lateral. Instead of the 6-inch pipe, it's an 8-inch pipe or 10-inch pipe, probably an 8. 6 inches,
Road has a-
plenty.
Well, he hasn't submitted his building plans. so
Right,
we
I don't know what he's gonna
if
put
his
there.
condos are gonna be one building or 5
I don't
buildings.
even
We
know if
don't
they're
know.
gonna be approved.
Right.
I mean, this is why we said you can't go on what you think. Hold on, please. Rob wants,
That's our discussion last month. We did talk a little about if something does change or get built after the project starts, we would charge them based on our
Correct.
EU calculation at that time.
correct.
And that's right. We can't just guess what they're gonna do.
Right. Minimum is
At
2,
that time, we'll charge them based on this system.
based on the
So
calculations,
I
right?
don't think we need to talk about a specific property. We
Correct,
need to just
Right.
come up with a
So-
system and then we'll apply it to that property. when we
Exactly.
Build something.
yes.
So
you're
hopefully,
doing that for the empty lot?
You're doing nothing for every empty lot. they're getting a lateral.
They're getting, well, not every empty lot.
If they build something.
Every,
okay, let
every
me just clarify
buildable,
about the empty lots, because Clean Water Funds and DEEP spell that out pretty clearly. I'll just read it to you. If the property is not developable on the present lot at the present time, that is, if an appropriate conventional wastewater disposal system cannot be constructed to health code standards on the property without any variances, then it is our intention, this is Clean Water Funds and DEEP, it is our intention to avoid providing the property owner with a means to develop that otherwise undevelopable property. So Eric, the land use coordinator, I think when he told me, oh yeah, flippantly, they are all developed, can be developed if they are, if there's a sewer there. Perhaps that's true from his point of view, but I don't think it's true from the Clean Water Fund statements that I just read. So like, for instance, there's only a few lots that would really be developable, Grandes and Noe's and the guy next to Noe. So that's it.
the
But
ones over 5,000 square feet.
if they have, if they can house a septic system now, they can be developed. If they cannot house, like the lot where the pump station is going, if they cannot house an existing, a current septic system today, then they can't hook into the sewers. That's what Clean Water is saying.
And
So
you have to remember that in that discussion, that means no waivers whatsoever. And that's what most people on 5,000 square foot lots,
Right.
which are non-conforming, have to have a waiver. And
Right.
Unless it's an engineered system or an advanced system. And So we don't know all the answers to all the questions everybody's asking. Plus, we
So-
haven't gotten any information back from Martha regarding Connecticut Water. And at this juncture, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I'm in the middle of appraisals for my properties. And my head is on how much the town is going to charge me in taxes right now, not when the sewers go in. So we're gonna kind of just stop, and hopefully that Martha can get us our information that we need, and we can progress from there.
Well, I
If
think the
that's all
bid
right with
information,
anybody.
I think the information from the bids will also be helpful because, you know, when the bids come in, you'll have a more realistic goal. And then we'll have to work backwards from that, just as Chan had done in
No,
2019.
I disagree with you. It doesn't matter what the number, it does not matter what the bids are. We should have a system that equitably divides whatever that number is. How would the end result dictate how we charge people?
Because there is still the state statute that says you cannot charge more than the betterment of that property. And Soundview has their assessor said 7 and 10%. The WPCA's assessor said 10 to 15%. So you want to make sure all the appraisals are finished, all the objections and variances are.
I'm not concerned about Mary. I had this discussion with Frank Noe, to be honest with you. It doesn't matter what the number, you shouldn't be concentrating on the number. You should be concentrating on the system you develop to make sure everyone is equitably charged at whatever that number is. If it goes over someone's assessed value, it goes over someone's assessed value. You can't tailor a system that's going to have exceptions, especially through the residential area, based on their assessed value. I'm not a wizard. I don't think any of these is I don't think the cost of any of this is going over the assessed value of anyone's home down there. But maybe on a small lot, it might be, but I would say include all of the lots that do not need a zoning variance to build if we have sewers going across. They should be lateraled and have a one EDU assignment. That's what I would say. I don't know about anyone else. This I thought was going to be completed tonight, and now Dennis is saying he's more concerned about his taxes than working and finishing the last 10% of this. I mean, do you
We're
need someone
still
else
waiting
to
on
push?
information from Martha.
And
that's one of the calculations that we're using.
And what?
Martha just walked in.
Martha's here.
Martha's here now.
Hi, Martha.
That was your cue.
Could you try to tell me, I mean, what properties do you need to know the usage of?
Which properties?
Yes, I mean, you're waiting for this
Pavilion.
water. Which one?
Pavilion,
Yep,
Kokomo's,
yep.
Petty's.
Okay, so,
So as we finished last month, we
Yeah.
talked about there's calculations you can use that are engineering calculations based on either number of seats in a restaurant or square footage of
Right,
a restaurant.
right.
And it's like regularly used.
they're regularly, so did you hear what Rob said?
No,
They're regularly used engineering calculations, either by number of seats for a restaurant or square footage of a restaurant, that would be able to give you a number for an EDU that is accepted by the majority of the health departments or all of the health departments in determining how large the septic system would be. So if you went online and looked at those calculations, you probably don't need usage. And it may even be a better way of figuring it out, considering the fact that it's an accepted method already to determine sewer usage.
You know, I might agree with you if we weren't seasonal in nature. I mean, it's pretty difficult to say something like that when some of those businesses are closed for long periods of time. So,
Well, except that then you, why don't you make the argument with the residential also?
that's
All that's
true.
seasonal.
No,
It's
that's
all
true
seasonal.
too.
So everyone's using the system, whether it's 3 months a year, most people are using the system 5 months a year, and those places are open 5 months a year. So it's still equitable. It just,
5 years from now, they might be open year round.
right, they might be open year round if they have a sewer. I don't know, but they don't have to close.
You can't base.
You know,
it
we can
on
come up, we can
EDU.
stick to what we had said at the last
Well-
month's meeting. The division that we talked about, most single families will be 1 EDU, et cetera. Commercials will be 1.5 and mix will be 2. I'm just concerned that the betterment is going to exceed the, what is
I don't,
allowable by state statute. I know you're not concerned.
I don't
I'm just
think you should
bringing
be,
it
yeah,
up.
but I don't think you should be. I don't think that concern should be in the process of determining how we're going to determine EDUs. We should not be doing that. I don't think. I don't think we should be basing how we're going to calculate the fairest way of giving everyone, paying everyone, everyone paying their fair share of the system based on anticipated increases in assessment. I don't, that should not, it should not.
I guess there's just a state statute that says you should, but
No,
the other,
No, I'm not
Mary,
talking.
Mary, I think the issue is we should have a standard EDU system. If for some reason certain properties become unaffordable, those are the outliers to be dealt with separately, as opposed to trying to jury rig backwards everybody going into it.
Right.
The system can't account for
No.
every variable.
We need the system to do it correct, to do it the best way possible. And variances will be treated at the end.
I
If it
just,
happens, if it happens.
right, if it happens. I mean, if the numbers come in where we anticipate $20,000, even at 7%, most of those properties are well within that number, $300,000. Most of those properties are appraised at over $300,000. So I don't, that's 7%. And I know that is our assessor's estimate, but the WPCA hired a guy that does this for a living. He's done 60 something in Connecticut. He says 10 to 15%. I think he said 12%, to be honest with you. So if you use 12%, or if you use an average between the two, it's at 10%. So, I mean, most houses are worth $210,000 down there. I don't, but regardless of that, I don't think that we should be trying to tailor the fairest way of dividing EDUs to include, if it goes over on 2 or 3 assessed homes, then we'll come to terms with that and see how we can deal with it. Maybe the town will have to pick up the difference, but it's only the difference. It's not the total amount. So if it went over $3,000 on one house and $2,000 on the other, then all the taxpayers would probably have to chip in and pay the $5,000.
the other stumbling block which we had was, so the $6 million target, I guess, we're unclear as to what is included in that. Is it just the contractual bids, or is it the contractual bids and the connection fees and other items? What is included in it?
It's the only thing that is included in that is the construction costs.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. And that's the highest amount of money we could spend. I mean, it's not a target. We based it off of what we've already spent, what we've allotted for the shared infrastructure and the referendum. So the referendum minus those two items gave us, I think, 6.2 or $6.3 million. That's the remainder. I don't expect it to be $6.3 million, but if it is, it is. But I don't even know how that comes into your calculation to determine the fairest way of basically sharing all the costs, whatever the costs are, shouldn't really matter. There's got to be a fairest way of allocating to each person their share of whatever cost it will be, whether it's $4 million or $6 million. So I don't understand why that's a problem.
I guess because we're trying to determine, again, like what goes into the EDU. You're saying just the bid, the structure, but EPA says the consideration for for clean water funds includes the whole scope of what the end user has to pay, not just the build, but what the end user ends up paying out of pocket. That's what's stipulated in the Clean Water Funds documents. And I can send that to you if you like. I'll be glad to send it to you.
Does it say, yes, Martha?
Well, I had a very good meeting with CT Water. They said that they would get me the documents, but I had to sign off a waiver.
Yeah.
They said they'd get a waiver made for us. They had to go through their legal department. And I don't know how legal is. It's slow as molasses. But that was early last week and I haven't heard back from them. So as soon as I'll send an email out tomorrow and say, hey, when am I gonna get that information? Because as soon as I sign it, they said the report will be done and we'll have it for water usage.
Okay. Yeah,
But they said,
so
well, this
so
is easy.
clean water funding covers the cost of construction and design. That's all it covers. I don't know how they can then go out and then add other like user fees as part of their contract, Mary. I believe what they're referring to is all the costs associated for the construction, because that's all they're covering. So when can this
Steve,
board?
let me send this to you. I'll send it to you tonight, okay?
All right.
What Clean Water Fund says.
But
If
why,
in fact-
even if
in
it does
fact
say that,
we
wait, but let me
discussed
go
this
back.
last month.
Even if it does say that, why is that affecting your EDU calculation? This is what
Steve, let me talk. If in fact we made the motion last month to utilize our EDUs, and we were just hanging out waiting for Connecticut Water, then I would say that because we had an approval, that our calculations are as fair as and equitable as possible.
Well, we don't have, we said that 90%, like Frank's, is fine. The residential were fine. We wanted refinement on the mixed, the commercial, and some of these other outlying properties that I thought we would discuss tonight, approved so that we would have an EDU system in place. But you're telling me that you're more concerned about your taxes and to put this all on hold. I want this done. So I'm asking you, when do you think you could prepare something for the committee? Yes. Hold on, Rob.
So I do want to talk about the calculation that they have a little bit, if I could.
Sure.
Since that's what we are supposed to be talking about. So I
Could
really
you
like
identify
this.
who's speaking, please? Because I can't see you.
Rob.
Thank
So
you.
I really like this system. And how it adds like the 0.25 for certain factors, like a kitchen or a bedroom. But I think we need to start with a little bit lower bar in that if you have 2 kitchens and 3 bedrooms, that ought to be a 1.25. So if
It
you got,
is. It
It's
is.
not-
That's what we said. Yes.
your write-up says that 3 bedrooms and 2 kitchens is 1 EDU.
Yes, that's 4. We counted up to 4. I'm sorry.
I just said, if you have more than one kitchen, you ought to have a 0.25 factor added on, no matter what. If there's a situation where you got 2 bedrooms and 2 kitchens, I mean, maybe, but if it's at least 2 kitchens, it ought to be a 0.25, and we got to start at 3 bedrooms also. And anything above 3 bedrooms is a 0.25 on top of that also.
So the
And-
way we figured it, according to the, when we went back to the EIE, you know, they
Right.
based EDUs on the number of bedrooms, and we did the same. And we said the typical single-family home would have between 3 and 4 bedrooms. Anything more than that is
So the
getting into
single-family
rental.
home in a beach area, though, if you've got more than 2 bedrooms, you've got something going there. And
If you have
so
3 bedrooms,
anything with 3 bedrooms and 1, I can agree with 3 bedrooms and 1 kitchen is 1 EDU. But as soon as you go over that, either with kitchens or bedrooms, we should be tacking on the 0.25. And I like this 0.25. It's not like we're not adding a whole other EDU at 0.25 at a time.
I thought they did that.
so we
Yes, we-
did do that, except we went to 4 bedrooms and 1 kitchen would be 1 EDU. 4 bedrooms and 2 kitchens would be 1.25 EDUs. But if you want us to take it back down to 3 bedrooms and 1 kitchen is 1 EDU, we can do that.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're saying, and we're very close to that anyway.
3 bedrooms and 1 kitchen and 1 bath
Is
is
1
1
EDU.
EDU.
1 EDU.
Anything
Yeah,
more
we
than
don't
that,
care
you're
about the
adding-
bathrooms. It's not
Yeah,
stipulated in the EIE.
It's kitchens, all right.
Because I
And
agree,
then,
if you got 2 kitchens and 4 bedrooms, you definitely got something going on there.
Right.
You got 2 units
Yeah.
that should be,
Right.
maybe not 2
If you
EDUs,
have 4 bedrooms and 2 kitchens, I think we
It would
said
be
that was
1.5.
1.25 EDUs.
that'd be
we can-
1.5.
that would
We
be
can change that?
1.5.
Okay, let's
Yep.
change it.
Yeah.
So,
Agreeable
so
to
the
that.
baseline,
I wrote a
is,
formula that does it all. If you want, I have it with your Excel sheet, I wrote a formula into it that you can change those numbers and it'll redo all the math throughout. If you want, I can send that out.
Why don't you send it to
Please
me
do.
and Dennis? Thank
Yeah.
you.
send it to-
And we'll look at that.
Nice
But
formula.
we don't have any problem changing it to be 1 EDU is 3 bedrooms and 1 kitchen. And then everything beyond
less.
that is 0.25 EDUs for
See,
residential
we went
properties.
by what Woodward and Kern had put in their document. That's what we
Yeah.
went by.
That's what we
Yeah,
did.
but I don't think they had the 0.25 thing in there. I like that.
Yeah.
It just incrementally adds it for if you got something more happen.
It's fair.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
It's fair.
That-
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
they're
fine.
using it more. I mean, they,
And so it does
they
bump-
benefit.
It does bump the numbers up a little bit.
Right.
Which is
which is good because, yeah, so could you and Dennis, this coming month, look at the engineering, or the health department criteria on septic designs for restaurants? They do either do square footage or number of seats. That would handle, you could pick whichever one you want, but that would handle, and maybe square footage would be the fairer way of doing that. In determining what an EDU would be for the restaurants down there. And then can we get a final presentation next month on this? And not be so concerned about the amounts like I said, the end price should not be considered in trying to equitably distribute the cost of the system. Whatever the end cost is, we have a formula, you plug it in, that's what everyone's gonna pay, and it's fair. If it's $4 million, great. If it's $6 million, well, it's still good, but it is what it's going to be.
Okay, we can do that.
All
Okay,
right.
as far as the restaurants are concerned, are you also talking mixed use?
Well, I thought we said mixed use
Are
was
we
gonna be,
just segregating the restaurant portion of a Teddy's and leaving the 2 apartments upstairs different?
so mixed use is a minimum of 2, correct?
That's correct.
Right.
Right, that means it's some type of commercial down below and residential above. I guess the question I would have is, given the square footage of a restaurant or the seating capacity of a restaurant, whatever one you want to pick, if it pushes it over the 2 EDUs or keeps it under the EDU. And we would use the higher of the 2, I would imagine. So we've already said that mixed use is a minimum of 2.
Right.
If Teddy's, for instance, came in at 1.9, he would be charged 2, because we're saying a minimum mixed use of 2 with a qualifying factor of based on square footage. So if you're lower than the square footage brings you up above 2, then or seating. I don't know, whatever one you want to pick, but either way, they're good. Every single mixed use is going to pay at least 2, and some may pay more based on seating or square footage.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
And what was the 1.5? That was what was our
1.5 is the commercial buildings, straight commercial.
straight commercial? Okay.
Right.
And then if
Okay.
we could get that, so do we? Can you guys commit to that?
We can
To
work
having
on, we can work on that and present it next month.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is there anything else?
No, not that I know of. Not that I know of.
And
Not for me.
we've agreed here to include, it would be a good idea to include any property that's vacant now that can be, that does not need a zoning variance to build once the sewer goes through as
Right.
one EDU. Okay,
Correct.
all right.
Okay, yep.
The other
that's fine.
properties that need a zoning, I can't control zoning. You know, it's clean water funding is clean water funding. I know what the rules are, but I can't control zoning. If zoning gives someone a variance to build, I can't control that. We asked this question
See,
when
what you
that came up.
you missed down there is both sides of Hartford Avenue from Bocce Lane to Pond Road are a different district. It's a design district, so it falls under a totally different set of rules and regulations, like setbacks and things like that. So what Eric is saying is probably fine as a blanket statement, but for down there, it might not be what he thinks it is. So that's what, and it just so happens that side of Hartford Avenue has 2 sections of vacant land, you know, and one of which has a building plan already, and the other one doesn't. So, but
I
okay.
think that, just to clarify again, the Clean Water Funds document that I read to you earlier stipulates again that you can only develop afterwards if that property did not need a variance to build. So,
I realize that, Mary.
okay, good. So even if they were granted a variance by zoning, they cannot use clean water funds for that property.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Next on is new business. Any new business? All right. Not hearing any. Correspondence. I had one email from Ron Cotta. He lives on Hawks Nest Road. He asked why we're not bringing our sewer line down to him. It seems ridiculous to him that we would stop in the middle of a road and that he wants sewers. I replied saying that Hawks Nest was originally considered to be part of this project, and the DEP and WPCA felt that it would be better to have further study done, that we would be forwarding those results to the DEP this year. And, you know, the DEP will determine whether they're going to have to connect or not. You know, basically, they may order us to start looking into a remediation program from them, and with sewers already in, I'm sure that would be the cheapest option to pursue. So,
I have a question. Is Miami Beach putting in their water now, or are they laying pipe for sewers?
I don't know, but I would have to say water because they haven't started sewer work.
There's water pipe going in,
There's water pipe.
Okay,
and so it's connected water, because they took over
Yeah.
the Miami Beach water system.
Yeah, I know. San
But there's
Jose.
pipe going in.
San
Oh,
Jose.
yeah.
Yeah, so there's water pipe going in.
okay.
Do that when the road was open?
All right,
They got ahead of it.
any other questions or
Isn't the
comments?
road gonna be open twice now?
Not hearing any, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded?
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.